IPRCs, they have to do an annual review to see how much progress has been made from the previous IPRC, and the IEP is really concerned with annual goals.
Yeah.
Like setting, okay, where do we go from where we are now to the end of the year, how much do we want to get, and then at the end of the year, when they do a review of the IEP, it's okay, how far have we progressed, and where we've progressed now becomes our new baseline, what's our plan for moving forward.
Exactly.
They can almost only take a look at 1 year at a time.
Yes.
In their terms of their planning. You've got a longer term outlook.
Yes.
With your
Definitely.
child. So I guess your situation now is that you have to take a look at what's happening with them at school and almost try and have some kind of a supplemental program running at home where you're also trying to develop certain skills. So you got almost a homeschooling program.
Yeah, we actually have funding through special services at home and also respite services. So we have a girl who comes and works with Liam and through special services at home. She's actually been working with him now for 3 years, I think, and she takes him on outings and works with him on, I think, more what I would classify as life skills.
Okay.
You know, just taking him to movie theater because it's not necessarily a place where he knows how to behave properly. So it's a lot more for her. Or what I like to think of as life skills. The respite worker, we're just actually in the process of getting a new one, and she'll hopefully be doing the same sort of thing. I personally am of the mind that home should be his place of rest. It shouldn't necessarily be the place where we worry about the therapies and making sure that he's using the fork properly and that sort of thing, because it's pushed so hard into him all day at school. Not that he seems to think that it's a burden, but I'm just more of the mind that home should be fun. Home should be the place where we play instead, and which is what the special services at home kind of does. So our special needs worker comes in, she generally takes him away from that environment because he has certain patterns at home that he follows, and it's really hard to break them of him. So she usually takes him out of the environment and does something else with him. But she knows all of the plans. I show them all of the therapist reports that we get, any sort of suggestions that they have for trunk strengthening. You know, even for Liam to kick a ball is huge if you can get him to do that. And he doesn't need to know that he's getting therapy, which is kind of the nice part about it. But I've always kind of been, in my mind, home should be home, and it shouldn't necessarily be the place where you have to work too. So, you know. It
becomes a little more difficult to separate when the skills are life skills.
Yeah, that's true. But I try, you know, I still encourage him to you know, go to the potty and try to dress himself, but and I'm sure he does more at school than he does at home. I've heard it from his teachers, I've heard it, but I think that's, any kid is like that. You know, they get away with murder with their parents, and you know, but the babysitters or the teachers say, oh no, they can do that. And I kind of went, excuse me, what do you mean he can do that by himself? Oh, interesting. So it's all about communication too. You know, talking to his teachers and me learning that, oh yeah, he can do that. Oh really? Interesting, because he always gets me to do it for him at home. So it's kind of just communicating with them and but no, I mean, I don't know what I should be doing for future stuff. Like right now we put money into an education fund for him, one of those government plans. I don't know if I should be doing that. You know, he may never go to secondary school. He may never go to post-secondary school, rather. And so should I be taking that money and putting it into the new program that they have through the government now, where you can provide for a special needs individual after you pass on? So, you know, I don't know, because we have no kind of long-term idea where he's going to end up. it's kind of, as a parent, obviously you worry about your children, you worry about what they're gonna be when they grow up and whether they'll be happy and this, that, and the other thing. And with me, it's that extra, will he even be able to move out? Will I be taking care of him until I'm old and retired and not able to care for myself? And then what do I do? Because I really have no idea where he's gonna end up.
No, I think we're going to take a short break at this point, just for about 5 minutes, and then what we're going to do is come back, and I'd really like to have a chat, almost parent to parent, about just what goes on inside a parent's mind when their child is not quote unquote normal.
Normal.
What
My favorite word.
What do you do? How do you deal with the feelings? How do you deal with the family? How do you deal with the motivation? Like it's quite an emotional shock, and yet, as you know, in 28 years of teaching, I often told many people that in 28 years I never met a normal child. And I also never met a child that wasn't gifted. And that basically meaning that you know, everybody has gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the gifts that they have and the skills they have may not be what we measure to define giftedness in school.
Yeah, successfulness, yeah.
But this whole idea of normalcy and this whole idea of what is a gift and how you get through the norms of society when you have you know, a child that falls outside the norm, I almost think that some of the feelings that you may be having may also be feelings that a parent would have if their child is what we would call gifted, where they're just absolutely super bright in terms of they may be more frightening in some cases than other children.
Yeah.
In terms of dealing with them and the decisions that the parents have to make are just as tough to make, and I'm almost wondering, can we at some point say everybody goes through the same processes and then the same stresses? It's just that some things are society calls normal and some things society doesn't call normal.
Yeah.
And we have to live with this there. So you've been listening to the Learning Clinic on CKLU 96.7 FM, coming to you from Laurentian University. I'm your host, Bob Kirwan. Tonight with me we have our special guest, Julie MacLean, who's a parent of a special needs child who's been going through the process, and her child is now in grade 1 and receiving a special education program through the Rainbow District School Board. And it's a very interesting process, and since almost 15% of the students in the system go through the process, and since in any given classroom anywhere from 4 to 8 students would have an IEP, it means that there's an awful lot of parents out there that know what this term IEP is and what IPRC is, and I doubt if many of them know exactly what the procedure is that they're going through every year when they go for a meeting. The Learning Clinic will have a section that is a parent's guide to the IPRC process. It's a very long guide because it's a very complex process, but I think a lot of what is missing is this whole emotional feeling and what you go through as a parent while you're trying to get the best for your child. And I think that's what I want to talk about when we come back after this, like I say, very short break.